All right, let's dig into what we call the instruction cycle. Think of it as the step-by-step routine that the computer follows to complete every single command or task we throw at it, whether it's opening an app, calculating a formula, or even turning on. This cycle happens millions of times per second in modern computers, which is wild, right? The entire process can be broken down into three main steps: fetch, decode, and execute. Let's dive into each one. Step 1. Fetch, grabbing the instruction. Imagine you're a chef in a busy kitchen, ready to make a new dish. The first thing you do is check the recipe to see what's required. This is basically what happens in the fetch stage. The computer's CPU heads over to memory and fetches the next instruction, or command, it needs to process. Now, how does the CPU know where to get the next instruction? This is where the program counter PC comes in. Think of the program counter as a pointer that keeps track of where the next instruction lives in memory. Every time the CPU fetches a new instruction, the program counter increments by 1 to move to the next command in line. The instruction that's fetched from memory gets temporarily stored in a register called the instruction register, IR. This IR holds the instruction only for a brief moment, kind of like the chef holding the recipe before actually starting to cook. Step 2. Decode. Figuring out what needs to be done. All right, now that we have our instruction in the instruction register, it's time to decode it. This is the thinking phase, where the computer has to figure out exactly what it's supposed to do. The control unit CU in the CPU takes on this job. It reads the instruction and interprets it, breaking it down into specific signals that tell the CPU's other parts what to do next. Think of it as if the chef is reading the recipe step by step, understanding each part so they can prepare the dish just right. Instructions are typically written in a machine language, binary code that only computers can understand. For example, an instruction might tell the CPU to add two numbers, move data from one location to another, or compare values. Once the control unit decodes this binary language into actual tasks, it's ready for the next step: executing. Step 3. Execute, making it happen. Here's where the magic finally happens. During the execute phase, the CPU carries out the decoded instruction. This could mean performing a calculation, moving data, or sending a signal to other hardware components. This is where the arithmetic logic unit, ALU, often steps in. If the instruction involves math, like addition or multiplication, or logic, like comparing two numbers, the ALU takes over. The ALU is the CPU's math wizard, performing quick calculations and logical tests. Let's say the command is to add two numbers. The ALU pulls in the necessary data, adds it up, and stores the result either in a register or back in memory. Not all instructions require the ALU, though. Sometimes the CPU is simply moving data from one place to another, like from a register to memory or vice versa. In this case, the CPU follows through with the instruction without needing the ALU's help. Repeat, on to the next command. Once the instruction is executed, guess what? It's time to move on to the next instruction. The program counter updates, pointing to the next command in the sequence. And the entire fetch, decode, execute cycle repeats over and over. This happens at incredible speeds. Modern CPUs can handle billions of cycles per second, which is why our computers feel so responsive. A quick recap. Putting it all together. So let's summarize. Every instruction the CPU processes goes through three main steps. Fetch. The CPU retrieves the next command from memory, guided by the program counter, and stores it in the instruction register. Decode. The control unit reads and interprets the instruction, preparing the CPU to act. Execute. The instruction is carried out, with the ALU stepping in for any necessary calculations. This fetch-decode-execute cycle is the core of how a computer's brain processes any command or operation. It's simple, but powerful. And when repeated, millions or billions of times per second, it enables all the complex tasks we rely on every day.